No, I think my pin has been here for 6 years. Same pin.
We ready, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. We'll go ahead and call this regular meeting of the East Peoria City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and every day that you give us. As we awaken to spring, may we also embrace new possibilities and opportunities. May we find a fresh start in our lives. Grant us the strength to embrace change, to let go of the past, and to step forward with hope and faith. May your blessings flow abundantly upon us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Approval of the minutes, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 18, 2025, and the minutes of the public hearing held on March 18, 2025 be approved as printed.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. With us today, we have a special guest, Richard Dick Crittobal, and we're going to give you a little special recognition. So, Dick, if you don't mind stepping up the podium, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Ty so he can make some comments first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have had the privilege of serving with Dick for the last 25 years on the Planning Commission and then my service here with the city. And he certainly his tenure with the city starts well before that. And he doesn't like to couch his terms or his tenure of service in years, but rather in mayors that he's served. And I think that number is up to 8.
8, yes.
Which is quite an accomplishment. So we just want to provide a recognition this evening and thank him for his service. It's an awful long time to serve and do a great job like he has all those years.
So I'll go ahead and say the years. Dick let me know when I became mayor. And the first go-around, just so people understand, and I've mentioned this before, I always appreciate those that are willing to serve on the commissions and the boards. And when it comes time for another term, I always reach out to the individuals and ask if they're willing to continue their service. And Dick was the first one that I reappointed, I believe, brought before this council. And when I called him, he's like, oh, I absolutely would be an honor. He said, you realize you're the 8th mayor that I've served? I said, no, I did not realize that. So in years, we went back and forth trying to do our homework here. The way we've got it calculated, sir, it's 57 years of service to this community. And we can't thank you enough. And I'm from the bottom of my heart, I think the world of you. You've done an outstanding job in all that you've contributed. And the Planning Commission, a lot of people don't realize the important work that these folks do. And we greatly appreciate it. Ty and I would like to present something to you. And then after we do, if you would like to say a few words, but Ty, would you mind reading the plaque, and then we're going to go present it?
Sure. Richard Crittlebaugh, presented in recognition for serving under 8 mayors across 57 years with exceptional service and dedication, April 2025. And with Dick this evening, we have his wife, Doreen, his grandson, Tim, who also serves on our zoning board, and Alan Hahn, who is our long-term planning commission member, has served with Dick for, what, 25 years, 30 years?
About 50 years.
Okay. More than that.
I've got you all beat, don't I?
If you want, for pictures for Dora, we can swing around. Would you like to do that? You want us to swing around and stand by a side? We'll come around. No, I know. Yeah. Here, get in between Ty and myself, and we're going to get some photos here.
Look to your left.
And we'll look at Scott.
I've never had so many pictures taken of me in my
Hey,
life.
you're the star today.
I don't think it's going, it might, okay. I'll put my thumb on it. Yeah.
The floor is yours, Dick.
Well, you know, I think over the years, as long as I have been in East Peoria, let's see, Pleasant Hill Grade School, East Peoria High School, a little bit of University of Illinois. So I've been around East Peoria all but about 5 years of my life, and my 90th birthday is coming up. So I think, you know, as I stand here, most people that are about to be 90 years old can't stand, let alone get an honor or whatever. So this is so much appreciated. I have enjoyed my years of service to this community, and I hope that they continue. You know, if you're willing to appoint me some more, I'm willing to serve some more. So anyway, that's about all I have to say, except thank you for entrusting me with some of the decisions that we've made over the years, including this very building that we're in. And I look across the parking lot there at that big apartment complex, and I think, man, we got room for more people. Bring them in. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
It's the least we can do, Dick, and it's so well-deserved, and I'm sincere. We appreciate you more than you'll ever know. So.
Well, like I said, it's been fun, and as long as you keep appointing me, I'll keep serving. So there you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Take care. Very good. Public comment. Anyone wish to address the council on an agenda item? Please step forward. And I'm seeing no one. Very good. Consent agenda. Commissioner Hill, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 5. Item number 1, adoption of resolution number 2425-137, resolution to approve payment of the scheduled bills listed on schedule number 22 in the amount of $1,950,258.81. Item number 2, adoption of resolution number 2425-125 on its second reading, resolution approving change order with G.A. Rich & Sons, Inc. for the Springfield Road Water Main Replacement Project. Item number 3, adoption of resolution number 2425-129 on second reading. Resolution regarding reassurance carrier for the city's group health insurance plan for the 25-26 plan year, Reunion Health Services, Inc. Item number 4, adoption of resolution number 2425-130. On its second reading, resolution regarding employee contribution rates for the city's group health insurance plan. Item number 5, adoption of resolution number 2425-126 on its second reading. Resolution approving the purchase of 100 dome top garbage toters from Waste Equip in the amount of $40,423.04 as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that items numbered 1 through 5 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted, and the items numbered 2 through 5 having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance 4848, here to attach annual appropriation ordinance for the city of East Peoria, Illinois for the fiscal year from the first day of May AD 2025 to the last day of April AD 2026, having been read once by its title and having been laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
I want to thank Commissioner Mingus for covering this item and the last item in my absence last week. This being the second reading, the appropriation, if anybody looked at the detail, I mean, outside of the city council, the total comes up to $139,383,269. So the appropriations, as it goes in great detail of, I've always described it in years past.
I'm going to just real quick interject, allow Jeff Becker to touch on this.
Yeah.
We want a point of clarification.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. So last meeting, there was an error on the calculation. It was listed at $139,383,269, and that is corrected. That number is $134,638,269. None of the individual line items changed. There was just an error in the calculation on the total.
His speaker keeps cutting out. So the first reading, all the line items were correct, but for some reason, it did not total it correctly on the last line. So in today's packet, that has been corrected, and it reflects the 134,638,269.
Okay.
Yep.
Based on our text, that was just opposite as that I understood it as. That's why, okay. But yeah, because the packet had 134 million. Well,
Yes,
okay, so
that
good.
is correct.
But one of the things here, and I'll turn it back to Jeff if he wants to add anything else. But I've always described this as it's the can be legally spent. It's not what we're planning on spending, but it's the illegal appropriations that we can spend up to that amount of money. So with that being said, second reading, and the amount is 134 million and some change. So, okay. That's it. I have that in front of us tonight for the appropriations.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Okay. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-123, here to attach a resolution to approve the working cash budget for the fiscal year for the first day of May AD 2025 to the last day of April AD 2026, be hereby approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-123, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
And this one I've described in years past as this is what may be spent. And if you look at the dollar amounts, and I think Jeff mentioned the dollar amounts and the difference between the two. The working cash budget comes right around 90, a little over 99 million. So if you look at it, the important thing to know is that we have complete transparency in the packet. You can see down to the pennies where anything has been planned, been approved. The city departments have done a great job in coming forward with the not only the operating expense as well as the capital improvements. And we have a 5-year plan that we implemented about 6 years ago or more. And so that's reflected in again, total transparency in the amounts and where it's going to be spent. So, and again, that's about all there is for that.
Very good. Any discussion? I'd just like to point out, and I do it every year when we approve the budgets, 6 years ago, this council, we kind of decided to do things differently at budget time. We break up the departments. We bring the department heads in with each commissioner. That's their area of responsibility, and Jeff and I will sit down and we separate out operating versus capital. As the commissioner mentioned, we got a 5-year capital plan that is ever evolving and goes from year to year. But as what we did was worked with each department, went baseline budgeting in the first year, cover the operating cost and then anticipated increases. We have working sessions, allow a lot of public input, and then once we do that, then we have a capital working session, go over all the capital needs and requirements, and then blend them together. And that's what is before you tonight. So I think it's a really fiscally responsible way to do it. And in good spirit, this council has been outstanding working together along with staff and all the departments. And it's really made a difference in the last 6 years, in my humble opinion, on things, whether it's capital needs or improvements that need to be made. And I just always like to thank staff and all the elected officials. So any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4851 here to attach, an ordinance approving assignment of the real estate purchase sale agreement with Frontier Hospitality Group to Illinois River Hospitality LLC for the sale of Lot 2 and Riverfront subdivision for hotel development project site be read, linked by the clerk, and that ordinance number 4851 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Madam Clerk?
Ordinance number 4851, an ordinance approving assignment of the real estate purchase sale agreement with Frontier Hospitality Group to Illinois River Hospitality LLC for sale of Lot 2 and Riverfront subdivision for hotel development project site. Whereas the City of East Peoria City has established, amended, and expanded the redevelopment project area for the Camp Street TIF District, the TIF District, under the authority of the TIF Act as provided in the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 11-74.4-1 at SEC. And whereas in November 2023, the city approved ordinance number 4758, an agreement for purchase and sale of real property with Frontier Hospitality Group, Inc., the purchase sale agreement for the sale of city property consisting of Lot 2 and adjacent property in the Riverfront subdivision within the TIF District, the project site for development of a new hotel project, the hotel project. And whereas the city and Frontier Hospitality Group, Inc. have also negotiated a development agreement for the development of the hotel project on the project site, whereas Frontier Hospitality Group, Inc. created a new legal entity for developing the hotel project, being Illinois River Hospitality LLC, and the city and Illinois River Hospitality LLC entered into the development agreement for the hotel project on the project site on November 25th, 2024, with the city approving the resolution by approved by resolution number 2425-080, and whereas the city and Frontier Hospitality Group now seek to also assign the purchase sale agreement to this new legal developer entity by the assignment of the purchase and sale agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated by reference the assignment in order to facilitate the closing on the project site and the development of the hotel project. And whereas the city finds that it is in the best interest of the city to enter into the assignment of the purchase sale agreement to Illinois River Hospitality LLC as set forth in Exhibit A, now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, the findings and recitations set forth above are hereby adopted and found to be true and correct. Section 2, the assignment is hereby approved, and the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute the assignment attached hereto as Exhibit A under such terms and conditions as the mayor in his discretion deems appropriate. Section 3, the mayor and city clerk are hereby further authorized to execute and document any documentation necessary to complete the assignment and transfer of the project site to Illinois River Hospitality LLC as provided herein and in accordance with the terms of the purchase sale agreement and the development agreement.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just to paraphrase a couple things here. What we have in front of us tonight, in November of 2023, we entered into the sale and purchase agreement with Frontier Hospitality Group for that Lot 2. Well, in November of 24, we came along, we entered into a development agreement with Illinois River Hospitality LLC, which is the operating legal entity for Frontier Hospitality Group. So this is an assignment of that deal over to the operating legal entity. So I'm going to turn to Scott, see if there's any additional details that beyond my paraphrasing.
Commissioner, you nailed it. I don't have much more to say. Yeah, this just assigns it over to the legal entity that Frontier Hospitality created for this project, which is pretty common, commonly done by developers when they get close to developing the project. And with this assignment, we're hoping to get this closed yet this week, so it's very timely, and look forward to moving on and getting this closed.
Very good. Yeah, that was one detail that we're looking to close on this property, and the next one is related to that as well, but the first part of April, so we can begin to break ground, begin to work on that project.
Yeah, just to point out, this is the new Hampton Inn development going down on Lot 2, which is the parcel between Bob Michael Bridge and Granite City. So it's exciting. We'll close on it yet this week, sounds like, and they'll be ready to go. They're ready to go now. So any other discussion?
Mayor, I've talked about this enough, but I can't help but just say how happy I am and excited for this development. Lot 2's been open for a long time. We've had a lot of thoughts about what should go there, and Frontier Hospitality has been just a great partner in the city, so I'm looking forward to the project.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Okay, resolution approving First Amendment to Development Agreement with Illinois River Hospitality LLC for new hotel project and riverfront subdivision. Whereas the City of East Peoria City has established, amended, and expanded the redevelopment project area for the Camp Street TIF District, the TIF District, under authority of the TIF Act as provided in the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 11-74.4-1 at SEEK, and whereas in November 2024, the city approved by resolution number 2425-080 the development agreement with Illinois River Hospitality LLC, the developer, for the development of the new hotel project, the hotel project, on property consisting of Lot 2 and adjacent property in the riverfront subdivision within the TIF district that the city is selling to Illinois River Hospitality LLC for the hotel project, the project site. And whereas under the terms of the development agreement, the closing on the sale of the project site to the developer was to occur on or before March 31st, 2025, the closing date. And whereas due to unforeseen delays, the city and the developer have agreed to a 3-week extension on the closing date in order to complete the closing on the sale of the project site to the developer as set forth in the First Amendment to the development agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated by reference the First Amendment. And whereas the city finds that it is in the best interest of the city to enter into the First Amendment to extend the closing date for the sale of the project site for the hotel project to April 21st, 2025, as set forth in Exhibit A. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, the above recitations are found to be true and correct. Section 2, the mayor and city clerk are authorized and directed to execute the First Amendment attached hereto as Exhibit A together with such changes therein as the mayor in his discretion may approve, provided, however, that the city shall have no obligation under the First Amendment to the development agreement until such time as the First Amendment has been executed as herein authorized and delivered to Illinois River Hospitality, LLC. Mr. Mayor, I move you that resolution number 2425-134 be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Well, I think that was stated pretty easily. The whole amendment, or First Amendment, is extending the closing date 3 weeks from March 31st to April 21st. And that's so that we can get this thing closed and wrapped up and started on the next project.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4850 here to attach an ordinance implementing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and a municipal grocery service occupation tax be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance 4850 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Madam Clerk? Hey, Madam Clerk, your microphone, can you turn a little bit towards you so you can hear you a little better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 4850, an ordinance implementing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and a municipal grocery service occupation tax. Whereas the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/1-2-1 provides that the corporate authorities of each municipality may pass all ordinances and make all rules and regulations proper and necessary to carry into effect the powers granted to municipalities. And whereas pursuant to Public Act 103-0781 passed by the Illinois legislature and signed into law by Governor Pritzker on August 5th, 2024, the state of Illinois repealed the 1% state grocery sales tax, which will take effect on January 1, 2026. And whereas Public Act 103-0781 further allows municipalities to enact their own ordinance reinstating and imposing a 1% municipal grocery retailer's occupation sales tax effective January 1, 2026 in lieu of the repealed state's grocery sales. And whereas, as established under Public Act 103-0781, new Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24 provides that beginning on January 1st, 2026, all Illinois municipalities may impose a tax upon all persons engaged in the business of selling groceries at retail in the municipality, the municipal grocery tax. And whereas the municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax may be imposed at the rate of 1% of the gross receipts from the sales, 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24, and whereas any municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax shall be administered, collected, and enforced by the Illinois Department of Revenue, whereas Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24 requires any municipality imposing a municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax under Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24 to also impose a service occupation tax at the same rate upon all person engaged in the municipality in the business of making sales of service, who, as an incident to making those sales of service, transfer groceries. As an incident to a sale of service, the municipal grocery service occupation tax, 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24 together, the municipal grocery retailer's occupation tax and the municipal grocery service occupation tax shall be referenced as the municipal grocery tax. Whereas any municipal grocery service occupation tax shall be administered, collected, and enforced by the Illinois Department of Revenue. And whereas the City Council finds that is appropriate, necessary, and in the best interest of the city and its residents to levy the municipal grocery tax as permitted by Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code that will be effective on January 1st, 2026. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, the findings and recitations here and above set forth are hereby adopted and found to be correct. Section 2, effective January 1st, 2026, Section 3-1-1.4 is hereby added to Title 3, Chapter 1 of the East Peoria City Code as follows. Section 3-1-1.4, Municipal Grocery Tax. A, municipal grocery retailers occupation tax imposed. A tax is hereby imposed upon all persons engaged in the business of selling groceries at retail in the city at the rate of 1% of the gross receipts from such sales made in the course of such business while this section of the East Peoria City Code is in effect. The imposition of this tax is in accordance with and subject to the provisions of Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24, as amended from time to time. B, municipal grocery service occupation tax imposed. A tax is hereby imposed upon all persons engaged in the city in the business of making sales of service who, as an incident to making those sales of service, transfer groceries as an incident to a sale of service. The rate of this tax shall be in the same rate identified in subpart A of this section. The imposition of this tax is in accordance with and subject to the provisions of Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24, as amended from time to time. C, administration. The tax is hereby imposed, and all civil penalties that may be assessed as an incident to thereto shall be collected and enforced by the Department of Revenue of the State of Illinois. The Illinois Department of Revenue shall have full power to administer and enforce the provisions of this section of the East Peoria City Code. D, effective date. The taxes imposed by this section shall take effect on January 1st, 2026. Section 3, in compliance with Section 8-11-24 of the Illinois Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 5/8-11-24, the city clerk is hereby directed to file a certified copy of this ordinance with the Illinois Department of Revenue on or before October 1st, 2025. Section 4, if any provision of this ordinance or application thereof to any person or circumstance is ruled unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such invalidity shall not affect other provisions or applications of this ordinance that can be given effect without the invalid application or provision, and even an invalid provision or invalid application of this ordinance is severable. Section 5, this ordinance is hereby ordered to be published in pamphlet form by the East Peoria City Clerk. Said clerk is ordered to keep at least 3 copies hereof available for public inspection in the future in accordance with the Illinois Municipal Code. Section 6, this ordinance is in addition to all other ordinances on the subject and shall be construed therewith, excepting as to that part in direct conflict with any other ordinance, and in the event of such conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 7, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval, and 10-day period of publication in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now you can take a little breather.
Okay, so what we have in front of us is the continuation of a 1% grocery tax. And when the mayor had mentioned this when it made the news, when the General Assembly and Governor Pritzker had signed this into law, I went back to do some research just so I would be a little more educated on what was going on here. And I think the mayor may have made some references in prior meetings. But what I found out, so I'll just share what I found out, that prior to 1990, local governments were able to create their own local taxes. So this led to a patchwork and amount of complexity that the state came along and created the sales reform tax of 1990, and in that process they took away the ability for the municipalities to have those taxes. But one thing they did as part of that reform was they created the 1% sales tax on groceries, and it was meant to replace what the municipalities were losing out on from this Reform Act that was meant to address complexities and of dealing with the taxes. So that's what we have in front of us today, that at the state level, the governor decided to discontinue the 1% sales tax, which was always intended to give back to the municipalities a tax that they were already collecting in some form before the Reform Act of 1990, and now is taken it away. And the new law has said that municipalities have the authority now to put the 1% sales tax back, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me if it was complex and varied and time-consuming before, but it sounds like we've regressed and went back to that. But one of the mentions the governor said, is a regressive tax. And the one thought that I've had there is that one of the bigger regressive taxes that the administration has done is doubled the motor fuel tax when they came into office. And everybody around here has to drive a car. We don't have the metro system of Chicagoland and Cook County, where, you know, as far as talking about hitting the pocketbook of people with lesser income, the motor fuel tax is a form. So what we're doing tonight is we're proposing keep maintaining the 1% that has been in place since at least 1990, or at least in the form that it's being discontinued starting in 2026.
Very good. Comments from the council? Commissioner Decker?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. And I appreciate his explanation. Because to know the history about this explains, you know, why it was there, and I think why we should implement it again. Budgets have been created and things have been purchased, and the city's plan is based somewhat on the revenue the city gains from this tax being in place. I remember when the legislation was proposed, ultimately passed, to me, it didn't, I felt like it was a political decision, and I don't think that it gave people the relief that was at least being touted, and I think the state knew that when they did it, cities would implement it because they have to. I think it's just puts the burden on the municipalities to do it. I think it was a political win, possibly, but to continue to run the city, it's something that we need. So for me, I need to vote yes, because coming up with the revenue or cutting where that would affect is just not something that I believe the city should do. So I am supportive of this.
Very good.
And I appreciate your explanation. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good. Commissioners, anything?
Yeah, the only thing I can see out of all this mumbo jumbo, and that is that one taxing body took credit for lowering your taxes and put the burden on who was getting the money at the end to run their deal. So I'm going to vote for this, but I'm not going to like it one bit.
Yeah. And I'll just add my 2 cents. I touched on this, very similar comments explaining what has transpired, as Commissioner Hill has explained tonight, so I won't regurgitate everything I said, other than, you know, it was a political stunt on the governor's point. I'm not going to be shy about it. Wasn't his money. This has been in place since 1990. It was part of a reform, to the commissioner's point. Illinois Department of Revenue continues to administer it. The state's not out anything. They charge you a fee to administer that. That's the way the law is written. But people need to understand, when the governor went out with the feather in his cap saying he was doing this for working class people, as he's raising fees and taxes across the board on everything else to pay for stuff, for a lot of the illegal immigration stuff going on in the state. I'm not going to be shy about it. It was nothing more than a political stunt, to Commissioner Sutherland's point, to place the burden back on local governments and make us look bad. I don't know that there's too many local governments that cannot do anything but support extending this tax. I hope people understand the tax hasn't gone away. What we're doing here tonight, we have until October 1st of this year to make this decision. So we've opted to bring it forward now. A couple other communities have. If I had a guess, just about every community will. That is part of the revenues that go back to local government. It was never the state's money to take away. But obviously we're finding out as time goes on, the state really gets a thrill in Springfield of taking away more and more of local government's authority, and it's sad to me. One thing I'd like to bring up to our citizens as we make this difficult decision to continue this 1% grocery tax, please understand the amount of unfunded mandates that come out of Springfield that don't cost the state a dime. And we don't have all night for me to go down the list of stuff. There's more coming down the pipeline that has been introduced in the form of bills down in Springfield. but it's never ending. It doesn't matter if it's additional police training or additional things covered by insurance. We're self-insured. So every time they approve these things, none of them are funded. Pensions, that onus is on the city. We talk at property tax levy time where our property taxes go, and this city has touted itself for not increasing its portion of property taxes in 30 years. What has allowed us to do that is exactly things like this. It was never the state's money to give away. He did it. He got a political win for it, and here we are tonight. It's the right thing to do. It's been part of the city's revenue source prior to 1990 because the local governments, even back when the state had its own grocery tax, prior to 1990, a portion always went back to the local government. So, but I know it's a difficult decision that I feel strongly that we have to make, and we have a little choice. With that, I'd seek a roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. Well, you still have one before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll mention it when we get. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4852 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing the selling process by sealed bid for the city-owned surplus real estate located at 423 Chicago Street be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Well, this is, as I just stated there, this is a property that we've acquired through demolition. And my preference is not to sell it in the fashion that we are, because most of the time it's gobbled up, if anything, by the next door neighbor for $500 and may benefit that neighbor, but it doesn't really benefit the city overall. So this is my last choice, but with the property availability and not many other options for this particular property, we are, this is seeking the approval to put it out for sale. It's an empty lot at 423. So I prefer to give it to Habitat for Humanity or look for some other use, but when there's no other choices, we put this one on the table.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. And then Commissioner Hill did have one other item listed on the agenda. However, we've opted to pull it. It's the approval of resolution number 2425-136, which is a resolution regarding revisions and updates to the city's group health insurance plan. We still have a little bit more work to do before it comes back for council, so we did pull that as a matter of record. With that,
Your
anything
Honor,
else?
that completes it for me tonight.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Decker.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Sutherland.
I have one thing tonight, Your Honor. Let me see where I put it. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-132 hereto attached, a resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of pipe and accessories needed for the Newman Drive water main replacement project be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-132 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
I think it was 2 years ago, I named off half a dozen streets that really needed water main replacement because of the amount of breakages that we were having. And Newman was among the top 1 or 2 years ago, and it creeped to the top over the past 6 or 7 months. It's breaking regularly. We're going to do this in-house this year instead of having a subcontractor do it. We're going to see how it goes. We think that we have a crew put together that's going to be up to the task to do it timely and keep up with the breaks, because that's a problem when we do it in-house, that we have to put, no offense against the fire department back there, but we have to put fires out all around town and then go back to the main job. And we're going to try it this year. Court said we could do it, and I think we can. And so this is what this is about the purchase of the pipe. And let me say this, that this should have already been started. Once again, I'm gonna rag on the EPA. They held up our permit because of when they gave us permission to do it the first time, they had to revisit the permit to see that they haven't changed their mind about the first permit to where we could go on digging right now, which I think is harebrained. I've never heard of anything that's commonsensical like that. I don't even think we should get a permit from the EPA to replace a water line that's already there, because they don't come and inspect it. They have nothing to do with it. They just okay the water line. And if we have engineers doing the engineering, they're the ones that will make sure that we're doing it right, and the separation between the sewer and the new line is up to speed. And what's the EPA do? They don't do nothing. They irritate the shit out of me. I'm done. Thank you.
Bleep. All right, very good. Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion?
Mayor, I do have a question. Commissioner, if we were not doing this in-house, I guess how much money are we saving being able to do it in-house?
That's a good question. Cord and I have been doing some of our water lines with subcontractors per hour. Now, water lines are different than sewer lines, because sewer lines, they can be anywhere from 2 feet deep to 20 feet deep. So each job, it takes more money to go per foot. But water lines are normally between 4 and 5 foot, and there's always utilities in the way. There's never no easy digging unless it's a new subdivision. So we've done it by the hour, and we've done it by the foot, and we've done it by the bid, and now we're going to do it with our own guys. And we're going to sit down later on this summer, we're going to take a look at what is our best bang for our buck, whether it's to take the money and do it in-house or with the subcontractor.
I do, whenever we can, I do love the idea of doing it ourselves. Years ago, we found that out with striping, one of the city parking lots. We were able to save a lot of money, allowing our workers to do it. In fact, I think they even did it on overtime and still save quite a bit of money. So I love the idea of doing it ourselves, and just hopefully it works out well.
Well, this job is going to be a little bit different, because we're going to bore the whole street. We're not going to actually dig up the street and replace approaches. We went up there and looked at it, and the approaches were in such good condition, probably because Rodney Schlescher lives up there, but they were in such good condition, we didn't have the heart to dig them up. So we're going to rent or lease a boring machine, and we're going to bore the whole road except for coming down from Farm Park down. And we're going to start with that part first, because that's where a lot of the breaks are at. But it's going to be the easiest for us to dig, even though we may have to shut the road down every once in a while. What I want to do is I want to put the dump truck on the upgoing side of the road, in the road, and put the backhoe in the ditch. Going up the road, it would be the right-hand side, and then just let people drive around us using common sense without having to have a couple flaggers out there, which, you know, it costs us money, because they could be doing something else. They could be, you know, somewhere else in town. But if it needs be, if we have drivers that can't drive up and down the hill, then we'll have to put flaggers up. But we're doing this one in-house, nevertheless.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
That's all I have tonight, and I imagine you're pretty happy.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. We'll see how that works at the end during comments. Anyway, Commissioner Mingus.
I have 3 items tonight, Your Honor. First item, resolution number 2425-135. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-135 here to attach to resolution authorizing the payment of an invoice from Banner Fire Equipment, Inc. for the purchase of a new fire engine in the amount of $692,670 be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-135 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. This is exactly as it says. It's approval to purchase fire engine. We already, the council already approved the ordering of the fire engine. It was ordered, I believe, a year ago, maybe even more than a year ago. We ordered it knowing that it would take time to be built. It's been built. It's ready for pickup. This is coming out of the 25-26 budget. So I see Chief Zimmerman coming up. I don't know if he's got more to add on that.
Nothing really to add. I just want to say thank you and talk to tonight a lot about budgets and that 5-year capital plan that we have. By you guys approving us to order when we did, if we were to order that engine today, it would be $200,000 more than the $692,000. So our budget process, I mean, without a process like that, we would be looking at, almost $900,000.
And we wouldn't be picking it up the first day, the day that we're paying for it.
Correct.
Probably.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Second item, tonight, Your Honor, Resolution 2425-133. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution number 2425-133 here to attach. Resolution approving the purchase of 3 new 2025 Ford Interceptor utility vehicles for the Police Department from Sutton Ford Inc. and approving the outfitting of the vehicles be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this Resolution number 2425-133 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. This is similar to the first one that I had, except this is purchasing squad cars for the police department. Total per squad car, $48,012 total. Well, that's for the squad car. The upfitting, the total with upfitting is $66,699.15 per squad car. Total for the 3 squad cars is $200,097.45.
So I'm going to echo something very similar because we actually got a deal, and that's why this is coming at the beginning, what's going to be the beginning of our fiscal year, which is May 1, which if you read the resolution that states that, the purchase will not occur before May 1st, but is what the dealership opted to do. Everyone that's been paying attention, we've fallen further behind trying to play catch up. We order these vehicles 1 year and then we're lucky to get them delivered the next year. But luckily for us, these are 2025 models, no different than the ones that I think either we just got or getting upfitted or will have soon. Is what the dealership opted to do is maintain the same price from last year. So they set aside these 3 vehicles. So that's why we're bringing this forward now, because the new ones would be a lot more money than what we're facing here tonight. So any discussion?
I just had one question that went along with what you said. With only 3, I was beginning to think of, are we catching up? I know years ago we still had some of the Impalas, and I think all those are gone, but are we sort of close to the rotation for replacement where we're not needing as many vehicles because this is a smaller number?
Yeah, well, we've done 3. In years past, I think there was 1 year we used DUI funds for 1 specialty vehicle or whatever, but we've been on a rotation of 3 new squads every year, but we have cycled, we're well beyond the Impalas, thankfully. Yeah. But in fairness, our guys are out there, now we're on 12-hour shifts, and these vehicles have a lot of wear and tear on them. So now we're starting to replace some of the Explorers, and I think with some of the 2017 models, with the wear and tear, we're starting to see some cost add up on repairs there. Obviously, we try to do as much as we can in-house. But to answer your question, as long as this council continues to stay on a rotation replacing these vehicles, I'm pretty confident we're in a good spot.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Chief, do we still have motorcycles?
No.
They're gone. That was a simple question.
They're gone in the wind. We ended that program in 2019. Yeah, 6 years ago. Good question. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Last item tonight, Your Honor, ordinance number 4847. Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4847 here to attach an ordinance regulating and limiting pedestrian activity in roadway medians in the city of East Peoria be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance number 4847 be accepted on its first reading and hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Madam Clerk?
Whereas sections 11-207 and 11-208 of the Illinois Vehicle Code 625 ILCS 5/11-207 and 11-208 provide that a municipality may regulate the roadways within its corporate limits, provided that such traffic regulations are not in conflict with the Illinois Vehicle Code. Whereas a primary purpose of public roads and rights-of-way is to enable lawfully permitted vehicles and pedestrians to safely and efficiently move from place to place, facilitate the delivery of goods and services, provide the general public with convenient access to goods and services, as well as provide a safe and effective means of vehicular traffic for emergency and public safety vehicles. And whereas city officials have observed dangerous situations created on public roads and rights-of-way when pedestrians and other persons linger or loiter in the roadway and right-of-way at certain busy intersections in the city, during which both pedestrians and vehicular traffic are put at risk to life and safety. And whereas based upon such observations, the superintendent of streets in the city's public works department undertook a study and review of these busy intersections in the city to determine the adequacy of the median areas in the roadway and right-of-way at these busy intersections to provide a safe location for pedestrian or occupation by persons. Whereas the superintendent of streets has determined that several of these busy intersections of the city do not provide adequate median areas for pedestrians to remain or occupy without putting the safety of pedestrian and vehicular traffic at risk of serious harm, as set forth in the memorandum attached here to as Exhibit A and incorporated by reference. And whereas the city seeks to eliminate or otherwise minimize the risk to public safety and related concerns with motorist and pedestrian use of public roads and rights-of-way, including activities which cause distractions to motorists, unsafe pedestrian movement within travel lanes, sudden slowdown of traffic, rapidly changing and dangerous traffic movements, increased vehicular accidents, and pedestrian and motorist injuries and fatalities. And whereas the city has a significant governmental interest in motorist and pedestrian safety and the free flow of traffic in, on, and through the city's roadways and rights-of-way, and whereas the city council hereby finds that the limitations and prohibitions set forth in the ordinance are the least restrictive means necessary to address the aforementioned issues while ensuring the public safety and welfare, and whereas the city council further finds and determines that the provisions of this ordinance are in the best interest of the city and will further the interests of the health, safety, and general welfare of the public. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois as follows. Section 1, the findings and recitations here and above set forth are hereby adopted and found to be correct. Section 2, Section 10 is hereby added to Title 11, Chapter 6 of the East Peoria City Code as follows. Section 11-6-10, occupancy of median. It is unlawful for any person to stop, stand, or otherwise occupy or remain in the median on any roadway intersection designated below, which includes the immediate adjacent roadway and right-of-way to the listed intersection when that person is not in the process of lawfully crossing the roadway in accordance with the provisions of the East Peoria City Code or the traffic laws of the state of Illinois. A, presumption. Stopping, standing, or otherwise occupying a median through 3 consecutive opportunities to cross roadway in accordance with the provisions of the East Peoria City Code or the traffic laws of the state of Illinois is prima facie evidence of a violation of this subsection, further defined as delay for the purposes of this section. B, designated intersections: North Main Street and Camp Street, Main Street and Washington Street, South Main Street and Silver Street, West Washington Street and Spender Drive, West Washington Street and Clock Tower Drive, West Washington Street and River Road, West Camp Street and River Road, West Camp Street and Riverside Drive, West Camp Street and Clock Tower Drive, West Camp Street and Spender Drive. Exemptions, or C, exemptions. Nothing in this section shall prohibit the following. 1, law enforcement, fire, public safety, or other government employees or contractors acting within the scope of their lawful authority. 2, a person conducting inspection, construction, maintenance, repair, survey, or other legal authorized services in the roadway or adjacent right-of-way. 3, a person lending aid in an emergency situation. 4, a person using a designated pedestrian crosswalk, crossing area, or adjacent sidewalk area without delay, as such delay is defined in subpart A of this section. 5, entering or exiting public transit or waiting at a designated pickup area for public transit. Or 6, use of public road or rights-of-way that have been closed to vehicular traffic for a special event as permitted by the city or a governmental entity. Section 3, if any provision of this ordinance or application thereof to any person or circumstance is ruled unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such invalidity shall not affect other provisions or applications of this ordinance that can be given effect without the invalid application or provision, and even invalid provision or invalid application of this ordinance is severable. Section 4, this ordinance is in addition to all other ordinances on the subject and shall be construed therewith, excepting that part in direct conflict with any other ordinance. In the event of such a conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 5, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll turn this over to Scott. He can explain that a little bit, but this ordinance basically is limiting pedestrians hanging out in certain intersections in the city. But Scott, if you want to take it from there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, exactly as you said, and as Morgan has read, so officers from the city's police department have noticed on several occasions recently, and they found pedestrians and people kind of occupying the medians in these busy intersections where medians are very minimal, if they exist at all, and had created what I would say essentially are close calls. I mean, fortunately, there has not been any fatalities or any injuries to date, but it certainly created some concerns with the police department. So based on that, we had a discussion, and the superintendent of streets did go out and reviewed numerous intersections to determine whether the median areas, which is essentially, is the dividing area between the traffic lanes going in opposite directions, whether they were sufficiently designed for for pedestrians to be there for any period of time. And in reviewing these busy corridors of the city, mainly being Main Street and Camp Street and Washington Street, and looking at the design of the medians in those areas, and looking at the federal highway code and the requirements for medians, the superintendent of streets determined that they were greatly deficient for for pedestrians or other persons to be in those median areas. So in order to enhance the safety of those intersections, and especially, those are easily as listed in the ordinance, these are the busiest intersections in the city, certainly among those, and that's where these issues have been noticed, where the pedestrians have been causing problems. So based on that, we've developed this ordinance to try to ensure the safety of both those pedestrians. Certainly, if any accidents involving a direct hit to pedestrian would be pretty serious, but also you also have to think about the idea that traffic gets stacked up, and you might swerve, and then now you're in an accident with another vehicle. So taking all that into consideration, we've tried to minimize. We did target the busy intersections. I know that they looked at other intersections along these corridors, but these were the ones that were targeted as having just essentially either a non-existent median in a lot of cases, or just a very minimal one. that wasn't designed to handle people for any length of time. So this ordinance makes that a ordinance violation for anybody who wants to linger in those areas and enhance safety for all concerned in those intersections. So last thing I would say about this is that, like I said, this is meant to, we looked at other alternatives, but this is the best option we could find for kind of ensuring the safety in those intersections.
Well said, Scott, and very descriptive. But yeah, that's something, appreciate Chief Catton, Rick, and Scott for working on this. And it's long overdue, and it has been an issue and a major safety concern. So this is the best approach and best way to address it.
I agree.
Yeah. Any discussion?
You know, Mayor, I think I've been at an accident on every one of those intersections. And the number of times that an accident occurs and the vehicle ends up in the places where people would be standing, I'm surprised we haven't had more issues with this in the past. I'm happy to see it because I think it does make quite a bit safer. People might be standing there thinking that they're not causing a problem, but an accident that occurs, those are high traffic areas, then they are right in line to be hurt as well.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Comments from the audience? Anyone wish to address the council on a non-agenda item? Nope. Seeing no one. Very good. Comments from the council. Commissioner Decker.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Very good. Commissioner Hill.
I'm going to take Commissioner Decker's time. I think with the appropriation ordinance and the working cash budget, it brings me to, and the mayor actually made a reference to it, you know, our tax bills, which you may be, if you got access online, which is public. When I looked at it just the other night, the rates aren't published online yet. But one of the things I wanted to, again, use as a time to educate our taxpayers, our residents, is our tax rate. And everybody should know that, you know, your house has a value, and based on that equalized assessed value, the tax rate, the complete tax rate is times against that comes to your complete tax bill. One of the things that we've tried to educate, I know this council has, I know the mayor has repeatedly, and he made a reference to it before, we've held our tax rate flat for any number of years, over 30 years. I've got, I myself have tracked it for 20-some years. The rate that we may see this year, I had written it down, well, we held our rate equivalent, which means we're going to bring in about $5.9 million. And again, educating the public where that 5.9 goes, because you know we hear residents say, "Oh, that my taxes are paying for my garbage," and we repeatedly say, "No, it's not." So the 5.9 that we're bringing in, I'm going to tell you know. A little over $2 million goes to police pension, just under $2 million go to the fire pension. We've got just under $1 million go to workman's comp, 400 Social Security, 250K municipal retirement, and so that brings us up to the 5.6 million right there. So the rest of it goes to well, there is 140,000 for street lighting and an audit and unemployment insurance. So that brings us up to the 5.9. And if you remember when we talked about the working cash budget, it was at $99 million. So if you take out the 6, we still got 93 left to cover with other forms of sales tax or gaming revenue. So so I want to point that out first of all, that the 5.9, although we appreciate it and it goes to very important things, it doesn't even come close to paying the bills. Because even I was going to say, I had, you know, I think we appreciate in this community. We have a safe community. We have first responders, the top-notch first responders that you would expect and see in your home in a short few minutes. The salary on those, I had those before. Let's see if I wrote that down somewhere else, but those come at millions of dollars right there for the salaries for those individuals to make our community what it is, safe, and have fast responders. If my rate is right, based on what I've seen from our finance director, we kept it flat, and last year the city's tax rate was 1.157%. So that's important to remember, and right now, based on the documentation that I've seen, we may come in, and we expected this, at maybe 1.06. So again, we haven't raised our tax rate. The reason, again, I bring this up is that if you have a $300,000 home, or let's even make it $270,000 home, you are paying the city under $1,000 of your total tax bill. It's really $800 or $900. The reason I bring that up is that when you look at don't look at your total tax bill when you're blaming the city of East Peoria. Look at the other 9 taxing bodies that truly understand. So if you find value, even though I said that in spending $1,000 to have everything the city provides from a services perspective, from police and fire, streets, lighting, garbage, even though I said that money that I just said goes to those other sources, then I'd be happy that you knew that you're paying, maybe under $1,000. Again, it depends on your value of your home for those complete services of the city. So with that, I'll end with a more non-tax. The farmers market has started. Vendors have started signing up. We're starting to schedule the artist or the musician. So, again, we're looking for vendors. We want to have a much better year than last year. We had a low number. Last year we need a lot of participation. We're already seeing some new vendors. So you can find the registration form now online. Make it really easy. Go online, fill out the form, push the button, and you will have submitted your application for the farmers market. And with that, I will end.
Very good, Commissioner. Thank you. Commissioner Sutherland.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say, but I do have a question. I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to use Mike Math. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
always do.
Okay. If there's $10,000 property taxes on a piece of property, 60-ish% of it goes to the school districts.
That's correct.
Okay, that's nice to be correct. Out of that 60%, out of that $6,000, out of that $10,000 initial fee, that's $6,000, 85% of that $6,000 goes to pay off teachers' pensions. Is that correct?
I can't speak to that. I'm not on the school board. I'm not sure.
No.
How close am I?
I mean, I don't know their budgets, but school districts levy in different funds. So they've got 8 different funds, 4 different operational funds. So they've got their levy, but the teacher retirement that the school districts pay are paid by the employees out of their salaries.
But so would it be more accurate? Because I think with the human, capital business of teachers, the largest part is the salaries.
Yeah, so teacher makes, let's say starting teacher makes $40,000. Typically 10% of that they're paying into TRS, which then goes to the state. The school districts don't pay. The TRS for teachers comes out of their pocket. It's part of their salary. It's basically 10% of their salary.
Then here's my question. Why is the state considering extending the balance of the pension plan payments to be paid in full from the year 2030 to 2035? They're extending it 5 years. Is that
For teachers?
for everybody? Police, fire, teachers?
It's 2040, and they're considering extending that to 2050.
That's for the public pensions.
Yeah, that's public pensions.
So my question then is, would it be smarter to keep doing the way that we're doing here as a city,
Yes.
or to accept that extension?
No, we don't accept the extension. We've been on course since probably 2016, 17 timeline. Actually, when Mr. Becker came on board, Mayor Mingus at the time, Commissioner Densberger and I sat down with Jeff and we talked about funding ours at a trajectory of 100% to get there sooner, because once you get there and you're at 100% funded, then you flatten everything, and then all those monies that you're paying now to catch up, you're already caught up. So as long as you stay fully funded, you're not going to be spending the kind of money you're spending today, if that makes sense.
So that money goes back in the general fund? then?
Correct.
Okay, and then it can be
Absolutely.
spent on roads and stoplights?
Yes,
and-
sir.
Okay,
And that is not Mike math, that is a fact.
okay.
Mayor, help me out too, because the public pensions that we have in the city are the police pension, the fire pension, then we have IMRF.
Correct.
The funding that the state has put is police and fire. IMRF is not part of that equation, correct? IMRF
No,
is
that's- yeah,
self-funded
that's
by
correct.
the employees, just like
correct.
teachers are.
Yes, sir.
IMRF and TRS are the same for the most part, where police and fire are different, where we have a mandate to fund those.
And we've made great, I touched on this in the State of the City because I think it's important for people to understand. There's a lot of municipalities, Peoria included, that are in really serious trouble with their pensions. By doing what we've done, as painful as it was at the time to make that decision, our fund, we're in the 60 percentile, which is absolutely critical not to go backwards to get to where we want to get sooner, no matter what the state does. I think we need to stay on track, and the city will be better off for it long term. Basically, with the whole pension thing, you go back to the 90s, early 90s, when all that started, is all they did was kick the can down the road. There's a day of reckoning. For elected people, it's easy to sit there, you have one term, right? And you want to be the savior for everybody. So you go in and you gift everything to every person or entity, knowing that 20 years down the road, chances are you're not going to be there to answer or be held accountable for those decisions. And I think it's important just to continue to focus long-term on what you want this city to look like 10 years or 20 years down the road. And I think it's really important to be held accountable for the decisions we make today and not force that upon somebody that may be in these seats in the future. So, anything else?
No, it's nice to know that Mike Math worked out this time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you listening to us. Just kidding. Commissioner Mangus?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
All right, I have nothing further to add. I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, April 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present, voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned until we meet again.